Last month, I received a phone call that broke my heart. Margaret, a 78-year-old woman who had been living alone since her husband passed, had fallen in her bathroom. She lay there for almost 18 hours before anyone found her. When the paramedics finally arrived, they asked who they should call. Margaret couldn't give them a name. Despite living in the same neighborhood for over 40 years, she had no one close enough to call in an emergency. This story isn't as uncommon as you might think. As we age, our social circles naturally shrink. Children move away, old friends pass on, and suddenly the bustling life we once knew becomes quieter, sometimes too quiet. Research shows that social isolation affects nearly 1 in 4 adults over 65, and its impact on health can be as damaging as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But here's the truth that many don't talk about. In your golden years, it's not about how many friends you have. It's about having the right ones. The quality of your relationships matters far more than the quantity, and some friendships become absolutely essential as you navigate the unique challenges of aging. In this video, we're going to explore the 7 types of friends you absolutely need in your life after 60. These aren't just any connections. They're the friendships that will sustain you, support you, and bring richness to your life when you need it most. By the end, you'll know exactly who to nurture in your circle and why these relationships could quite literally save your life. Stay with me until the end because the last type of friend we'll discuss is one that most seniors overlook, yet it could be the most important relationship for your independence and dignity in the years ahead. If you're finding value in this information already, please comment "friendship" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss our weekly content on aging well. Don't miss the final insight. It's one that most people overlook, yet it holds incredible power in predicting what lies ahead. These markers could completely reshape how you see your future and add valuable years to your life. If this has sparked your interest, show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing this video with those you care about. Together, let's make informed choices for a healthier, longer life now. Let's get started. Number 1. The reliable emergency contact. Perhaps the most important friend in your golden years is someone who can be your reliable emergency contact, the person you can call at 2 a.m. when something goes wrong. This isn't just about having a name to write on medical forms. It's about having someone who will actually answer the phone and show up when you need them. Take Richard and Tom, for example. They've been neighbors for over 15 years. Their houses separated by just a narrow driveway. What started as casual conversations about lawn care evolved into a profound friendship built on reliability. When Richard had his knee replacement surgery, Tom didn't just offer to help. He created a schedule, checking in twice daily, picking up prescriptions, and even taking Richard to follow-up appointments. "I never have to wonder if Tom will be there," Richard says. "In a world where everyone is busy, knowing someone will drop everything for you, that's rare at any age." This kind of friendship doesn't happen overnight. It's built through small acts of dependability, returning calls promptly, remembering important appointments, following through on promises. The emergency contact friend is someone who has proven their reliability in small ways before you ever need them for something big. How do you cultivate this friendship? Start by being that reliable person for someone else. Show up consistently, keep your promises, and demonstrate that you can be counted on. Make sure you exchange house keys, share medical information, and have honest conversations about what you'd need from each other in an emergency. Most importantly, don't wait until crisis strikes to establish this connection. The time to find your emergency contact friend is long before you ever need to make that urgent call. Number 2, the health accountability partner. As we age, maintaining our health becomes both more important and more challenging. That's why the second essential friend in your circle should be a health accountability partner, someone who encourages your wellness journey without judgment. Consider Diane and Eleanor, both 72, who met at a community water aerobics class 5 years ago. Neither was particularly enthusiastic about exercise, but they made a simple agreement. Neither would attend class alone. On mornings when Diane's arthritis flared and she was tempted to skip, knowing Eleanor would be waiting pushed her to show up anyway. When Eleanor's motivation waned during the winter months, Diane's gentle check-in texts kept her going. "We're not fitness gurus, Eleanor laughs. We're just two stubborn women who won't let the other one give up. Sometimes we spend more time chatting in the pool than exercising. But we're there, we're moving, and that's what counts. What makes a good health accountability partner isn't their perfect habits. It's their consistent presence. This friend doesn't have to be a fitness enthusiast or nutrition expert. They simply need to be someone who cares enough about your well-being to ask the sometimes uncomfortable questions. Did you take your medication? Have you scheduled that checkup? Should we go for our walk today? To find this type of friend, look for someone with similar health goals but perhaps different strengths. Maybe you're great at preparing nutritious meals while they excel at maintaining an exercise routine. Perhaps you're diligent about medical appointments while they're better at stress management. The complementary nature of your habits creates a balanced partnership where you both have something to offer. Remember to establish clear expectations with your health accountability partner. Decide how often you'll check in, what aspects of health you'll focus on, and how to offer encouragement without crossing into unwelcome pressure. The goal isn't perfection. It's having someone who notices and cares about your health choices when it would be easier to ignore them. If you're finding these friendship insights valuable, please comment health below, and let's continue exploring the types of friends who make all the difference in your golden years. Number 3. The laughter keeper. While emergency contacts and health partners fulfill practical needs, the third essential friend serves an equally critical purpose: keeping joy and laughter in your life. The laughter keeper is the friend who helps you maintain perspective, find humor in difficult situations, and remember that aging doesn't mean the end of fun. Meet Harold, 81, and Vincent, 79, who served together in the military decades ago and reconnected at a veterans event in their 60s. Despite both facing serious health challenges, Harold's Parkinson's and Vincent's heart condition, anyone overhearing their weekly coffee meetings would be surprised by the constant laughter erupting from their corner table. Vincent remembers all our old stories, even the ones I've started to forget, Harold explains, but he doesn't just dwell in the past. He finds something absurd about our current predicaments too. Last week, when my hand wouldn't stop shaking and I spilled coffee everywhere, instead of making me feel embarrassed, he said, "Well, at least we're keeping the cleaning staff employed." It's impossible to stay down around him. The laughter keeper isn't about ignoring real problems or maintaining toxic positivity. Instead, this friend helps you find the lighter side of aging, the humorous moments amid the challenges, the ability to laugh at yourself, and the perspective to see that even difficult days have their bright spots. This friendship often flourishes when both people share a similar sense of humor and a refusal to take themselves too seriously. The best laughter keepers acknowledge the reality of aging while refusing to be defined or diminished by it. To nurture this type of friendship, make time for activities centered around enjoyment rather than obligation. Whether it's watching comedy shows together, sharing funny stories from your day, or engaging in lighthearted reminiscing, prioritize interactions that end with both of you feeling more cheerful than when you started. And remember, sometimes the best way to find your laughter keeper is to be one for someone else first. By bringing levity and joy to your interactions, you naturally attract others who value the healing power of humor. Number 4. The technology navigator. In today's increasingly digital world, having a friend who can help you navigate technology isn't just convenient. It's essential for maintaining independence and connection. The technology navigator is someone patient enough to explain new devices, brave enough to help you try new platforms, and kind enough to do it without making you feel inadequate. Take Barbara, 68, and her friend Susan, 72. While neither would describe themselves as tech experts, Barbara embraced smartphones and social media earlier than many of her peers. When Susan's grandchildren moved across the country, Barbara noticed her friends' growing sadness at missing their daily lives. "I was terrified of technology," Susan admits. "I thought I was too old to learn and I was embarrassed to ask my children for help. They explained things so quickly. But Barbara sat with me for hours, showing me how to use video calls. She wrote down instructions in a way that made sense to me, and she never made me feel stupid for asking the same questions repeatedly. Now I see my grandchildren's faces several times a week, and I'm even in a group chat with my friends from college. Barbara didn't just teach me technology, She reopened my world. The best technology navigators aren't necessarily the most knowledgeable. They're the most patient. They understand that digital natives and digital immigrants experience technology differently, and they respect the courage it takes to learn new systems later in life. To find this type of friend, look for someone who explains things clearly without technical jargon, who writes down steps you can reference later, and who celebrates your progress rather than focusing on what you haven't mastered yet. This might be a peer who's slightly more comfortable with technology, an older neighbor who worked in a technical field, or even a younger friend who demonstrates unusual patience. If you're the more tech-savvy one in your circle, consider becoming a technology navigator for others. Few gifts are as valuable in modern life as helping someone connect digitally with their loved ones, access important services online, or protect themselves from digital scams. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment tech below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss our weekly videos on thriving in your golden years. Number 5. The history holder. As we age, our personal histories become increasingly precious. The 5th essential friend in your golden years is the history holder, someone who shares your past, remembers your stories, and helps keep your life narrative intact. Consider Martha and Ruth, friends since elementary school, now both in their mid-70s. They live in different states but maintain a connection that spans 7 decades. When Martha started experiencing memory lapses, Ruth became an unintentional guardian of their shared history. "Sometimes I forget things about my own life," Martha explains. "Names of teachers, which year certain events happened, even special moments with my late husband. Ruth remembers it all. She'll say, 'No, Martha, we were wearing blue dresses at that dance, not green.' Or, 'That happened the summer before college, not after.' She fills in the blanks without making me feel diminished. When we talk, I feel whole again, like all the pieces of my life are still there even if I can't always access them myself." History holders are invaluable because they validate our life experiences. They're witnesses to the people we've been, the choices we've made, and the journey that shaped us. This becomes especially important if cognitive changes begin affecting memory, or if longtime spouses who carried these memories pass away. The strongest history holders are often friends from earlier life stages, childhood friends, college roommates, former colleagues, or people who knew you during significant periods like military service or early parenthood. However, newer friends can also serve this role if you take time to share your stories and photographs with them. To strengthen these connections, create opportunities for reminiscence, look through old photographs together, record conversations about shared experiences, or visit meaningful places from your past. Even simple practices like beginning sentences with "remember when" can reinforce these bonds and preserve important memories. If you've lost touch with friends from your earlier years, consider reaching out. Social media has made reconnecting easier than ever, and many people find that even after decades apart, these rekindled friendships quickly regain their depth and significance. Number 6. The growth inspirer. Contrary to outdated stereotypes, our golden years can be a time of continued growth, learning, and new experiences. The 6th friend you need is someone who inspires you to keep evolving. The growth inspirer who sees aging not as a period of decline, but as an opportunity for continued development. Meet James, 77, a retired accountant who spent his career focused on numbers and spreadsheets. 3 years ago, he joined a community art class where he met Lucinda, 82, a former teacher who had taken up painting in her 60s after her husband's passing. "I joined that class on a whim, just to fill my Tuesday afternoons," James recalls. "I had no artistic talent and nearly quit after the first session, but Lucinda wouldn't let me. She showed me her first paintings. They were terrible, honestly, and then her recent work, which was beautiful. She said, 'It took me 7 years to get from there to here. Imagine where you could be in 7 years.' When I hesitate to try something because I think I'm too old, she always asks, 'Too old compared to what? Too old compared to if you'd started yesterday? Yes. Too old compared to if you never start at all? No.'" The growth inspirer challenges the notion that learning ends at any particular age. They model continued curiosity, celebrate your attempts at new skills, and gently push against self-imposed limitations. This friend helps you resist the temptation to shrink your world as you age, instead encouraging expansion and exploration. This relationship flourishes when both people share a belief in lifelong development, but perhaps pursue it in different ways. Your growth inspirer might be learning a language while you take up gardening, or they might be volunteering in a new field while you're writing your memoir. The specific growth areas matter less than the shared commitment to continuing evolution. To cultivate this friendship, seek out people engaged in learning environments, community education classes, volunteer organizations, religious study groups, or cultural institutions. Look for those with a spark of enthusiasm who talk about future plans rather than just past accomplishments. And most importantly, be willing to step outside your comfort zone together, supporting each other through the vulnerability that comes with being a beginner at any age. If you're still watching and finding these friendship insights valuable, please comment "growth" below, and let's explore our final and perhaps most overlooked type of essential friend. Number 7. The intergenerational bridge. The seventh and final type of friend that becomes increasingly valuable in your golden years is someone from a different generation. The intergenerational bridge who connects you to perspectives, experiences, and energy beyond your peer group. Consider Edward, 84, who lost his wife 5 years ago and found himself increasingly isolated despite having several friends his own age. His life changed when Marcos, a 32-year-old new neighbor, asked for help restoring a vintage car similar to one Edward had owned in his youth. What started as occasional technical advice evolved into a meaningful friendship that crosses 5 decades of age difference. My friends from the senior center, we share a lot of the same references and experiences, and that's comfortable, Edward explains. But Marcos brings something completely different to my life. He asks questions about history I lived through that make me see those events with fresh eyes. He introduces me to new music and technology without pressure. And frankly, his energy is contagious. I find myself more motivated on days when I know he's coming by. He doesn't treat me like I'm fragile or outdated. He treats me like I have something valuable to offer, which makes me feel like I still do. Intergenerational friendships benefit both parties in unique ways. Younger friends can provide seniors with fresh perspectives, physical assistance, technological guidance, and connections to contemporary culture. Older friends offer younger ones wisdom, historical context, practical skills, and emotional perspective that comes only from decades of lived experience. These connections help combat age segregation, which has become increasingly common in modern society. When different generations remain separated, stereotypes flourish and valuable knowledge transfer is lost. Bridges between age groups create more resilient communities and richer individual lives. To develop these friendships, look for environments where generations naturally mix. Volunteer organizations, community gardens, places of worship, or skill-sharing programs. Approach these interactions with genuine curiosity rather than assumptions. The strongest intergenerational friendships form when both people see beyond age categories to recognize each other as individuals with unique contributions. If you have adult children or grandchildren, consider cultivating friendships with some of their peers who share your interests. Similarly, be open to connections with the adult children or grandchildren of your friends who might value your specific knowledge or perspective. As we've explored these 7 essential friendships for your golden years, the reliable emergency contact, the health accountability partner, the laughter keeper, the technology navigator, the history holder, the growth inspirer, and the intergenerational bridge, you might be reflecting on your own social circle. Perhaps you've recognized people who already fill these roles in your life, or you've identified gaps where certain types of friends are missing. The truth is, meaningful connections don't just happen, especially as we age. They require intentionality, vulnerability, and sometimes stepping outside our comfort zones. But the effort is worth it. Research consistently shows that strong social ties are as important to longevity as physical health, perhaps even more so. Think about Margaret from our opening story, alone for 18 hours after her fall. The difference between her experience and a better outcome wasn't just about having more people in her phone contacts. It was about having the right people, those who would notice her absence, check on her welfare, and be available in a crisis. The good news is that it's never too late to build or strengthen these essential friendships. Every class you join, every community event you attend, every conversation you initiate is an opportunity to develop connections that could enhance or even save your life. Start small. Reach out to one person this week, whether it's rekindling an old friendship or nurturing a newer connection. Remember that friendship in our golden years isn't about quantity, but quality. You don't need dozens of casual acquaintances. You need a few reliable people who fulfill different needs in your life. And most importantly, the best way to have good friends is to be a good friend, to show up consistently, listen deeply, and offer the same support you hope to receive. Thank you for joining us today. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Which of these friendship types do you already have in your life? Which ones are you hoping to develop? Leave a comment below and share your insights. Your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. If you found value in this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might benefit. Your support helps us continue creating content that makes a difference in the lives of seniors everywhere. Until next time, remember that while aging is inevitable, aging alone is optional. With the right friends by your side, your golden years can be among the richest, most connected chapters of your life.